Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the whole page, jingle that bell for notifications. In Between Media is your ticket to the In Between. We got the Hero World Challenge in a very desolate place in the Caribbean known as the Bahamas. It's really tough to go down and play a gentlemanly game of golf in such a terrible weather place like the Bahamas. I happened to find yet another replacement host for the very busy Connor Coughlin, and another one that's way more handsome than he is. Thanks and welcome to the show. Welcome to the 19th hole, Keith Flemming. Check him out at Keith Flemming with 2 M's. He is a DFS contributor for Fantasy and Frames and the fantasy what's it called? SGPN.
Six pack.
That's right. And I worked with you in SGPN for a while there. Great to have you. DFS is tough. It's a tough game to win at, but guess what? We got your ticket here.
That's right. I definitely I know the pains of playing DFS to say the least, but very happy to be here because I'm one of those people because I do DFS football. Normally in the fall, I kind of give up on golf once the Tour Championship ends. This year, obviously, we had the Ryder Cup, so that was exciting. And I'll check just see who wins tournaments here and there, but overall, don't pay attention, except for 1 week each year, and that is the Hero Challenge, and especially the years that Tiger Woods is in the field. So I'm very excited about seeing him back on the golf course. It's almost ironic that CM Punk returned in WWE on Saturday night, who is another guy that people either love or hate, but no matter what, there will be a lot of eyeballs on this golf tournament, a lot more than any other fall event.
We are here to be entertained.
That's right.
And without further ado, let's hit the intro. This is the 19th hole, and always we're live. All right, as always, live on In Between Media, we got our usual suspects here. We got to shout out our fearless leader, Seth Woolcock. He's ready to party. So am I, Seth. I got my drink right here off to the side. We're sitting pretty here. We got Dee Dee from the Lake House down in SoCal. Shout out to Dee Dee. She's one of our full-time fans. She's probably won more money than anybody on DFS golf, apart just from the picks she's gotten from this show. We'll toot our horn as much as possible on the 19th hole because Connor and I have been on fire for 2 years now, winning people money on golf betting and DFS. Keith, we're expecting a lot out of you. Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah, no pressure, man. Absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah, Dee Dee thinks we're pretty funny too. So it's always an ego boost when our fans think we're funny, even though like my wife is rolling her eyes right now behind camera.
Yeah. You don't have to explain to me. Been married for 7 years. My wife thinks I'm probably the least funny of, anybody in the world. So, but she's heard all the jokes, she knows all the material. Yeah. So in fairness.
Yeah, it's played out. I got to find this Hero World Challenge. How much betting have you done on the fall season? Any at all?
Very little. Again, there's just so much to gamble on with football between college, NFL. I've gotten really big into the props this year, which is the first year I've done that because it correlates, right? Like if you're doing all this DFS research, you kind of know, again, good volume plays where if a guy's got a 4.5 reception total and he's seeing 8 targets a game, there's a good chance he could get to that number. So learning again how to, be more successful with that. But I've kind of stayed away from the golf. I did bet on the Ryder Cup a good bit because, it's the Ryder Cup. How can you not? But other than that, just kind of checking in, seeing what's going on. Other than Ludwig Adberg becoming, I guess, the next big thing in golf. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does moving forward, because no one's ever won on the European Tour, the PGA Tour, and then he was on a Ryder Cup before he was a full member on either. It's fascinating. This kid's got everything.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly right. We've been on him since he was at Texas Tech on the show, and we're both big fans, Connor and I. I'm glad to see that Keith is also paying attention to Ludwig Oberg from the Scandinavian persuasion. Let's Dee Dee also has a spousal comedy problem where her material is kind of getting stale. So maybe brush up, get some fresh stuff going on there with the jokes, Dee Dee. I'm sure there's plenty of material you can come up with just to push his buttons. That's what it's all about in marriage, is being able to push the buttons at the right time. It's the same as comedy. It's all about timing and delivery. You can do it. I believe in you, and I know I'm insufferable.
But you don't want your audience turning against you in stand-up comedy or at your household. So
very true. All right, we have a segment coming up called Club Twirls, where we're going to go to the DraftKings Sportsbook and bet on golfers. But before we do that, let's jump into the course. It is the Albany Golf Club in Albany, Bahamas. Yeah, those Bahamas. It's going to be a pretty brisk 81 degrees and a light breeze out of the north of 6 to 8 miles per hour. So these guys are in just really tough conditions. Par 72, 7,400 yards. It's resort style. These guys are going to be making birdies upon birdies. Every once in a while, they'll get disappointed with an eagle on a par 5 instead of an albatross. The final score is probably going to be somewhere better than 20 under par. I just don't know if there's going to be any fun to be had for anybody who's not in the Bahamas right now. Keith, where do we start on this course? Because I don't see any way to separate the field here when it comes to, like, some courses favor one type of golfer. This course seems to say, hey, everybody, come play a fun 72 holes of golf. And if you don't make the cut, you still get to party in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's a real issue. I mean, it really is. Motivation in golf. We talk about this on our golf show all the time on Fantasy Six Pack. Is a big deal. Like, because golfers, they live a great life. Like, they do. They play a game that the rest of us spend every hour that we can in our spare time and a lot of money in doing so, trying to play. And these guys get to fly all over the world and, make millions of dollars doing it. So definitely concerned about who wants to be there, who's just there to, pick up a week in the Bahamas, right? For a vacation, probably with the family. But there is some things I'm looking at. I mean, the tournament's been here since 2016. So with the exception of 2020 COVID, we do have a history of, who's played here well over and over and over again. Hello, Viktor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler. Shocker. It's Ernst Bell's design. The layout is also a big deal. I really did look into par 5 scoring and par 3 scoring, because you rarely see 5 par 5s and 5 par 3s. So that's going to help, give you just a little bit of a leg up at this course. You got to be able to obviously eat on those par 5s, but it's also important on these par 3s to not give strokes back to the field. And then you do need length. I mean, 3 par 5s play 590 plus. You got 470
it's
plus.
Not that far, right? I mean,
it's not, but I mean,
big.
That's fair. It is weird that 600-yard par 5 is really not a big deal anymore, but there is some guys like Brian Harmon and others in the field that will lose opportunities because they may not have the length to reach those holes, where obviously it's going to give advantage to some of the longer guys that they will. The Bermuda greens, they're very small. And that is something, again, that you can correlate and look up is, okay, what players hit a high percentage of greens in regulation on small greens, and then who has, the ability to scramble from that. Because with small greens, you're going to have a lot of short chip shots and stuff, because these guys aren't going to miss greens, by a ton all day, especially on greens this small. You see a lot of guys just off the green. But I really looked into par 5 scoring, par 3 scoring, scrambling, and total driving, which I look in every single week, strokes gained approach, and then the birdie percentage. It's going to be very important to your, what you're talking about just a minute ago. Guys have to make a bunch of birdies to win this thing. I mean, it's just, I think the winning score has been at least 17 under every year that it's been in the Bahamas. So obviously, you want to know guys that make a lot of birdies, but when we get into it, you'll see for the DFS lineup, I tried to get a little creative, and the betting board, to your point, it's pretty much, you can have some bets.
Who do you like?
You're not going to win very much money. You're not going to win very much money.
I'm gonna put some money on Didi because apparently she's hitting an 8-iron or shorter into these par fives, just mashing the ball down there, full compression, 100-yard rollout into the wind, uphill. She's hitting driver 9-iron into the 590-yard par five. So shout out to Didi. If I tried to do that, I would injure myself and I still wouldn't know where the ball was going.
Chicks dig the long ball, man.
They do. And yeah, I'm more of the Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux type that did the commercial during the steroid era. That was quite classic.
I'm a Braves fan. I love that commercial for sure.
Yeah, let's jump right in to Club Twirls. Twirls, when you give that little,
I could watch Tiger Club Twirls all day. Like literally, if there was a video for 5 hours of just Tiger,
I could just watch the one at 15 at Augusta. Back that one year, that one shot on 15 at Augusta, I could just watch that one over and over again.
My favorite is at the U.S. Open. I think it was like 09 when he hit a 3-wood from like 250, been at 40 yards around the corner. And I mean, he did the into the holster move and everything.
Yeah, as soon as he hit it, he's like, that was perfect. The dude understands a half a gram of swing weight difference. I think he knows when it's right. Yeah. But yeah, we do have a Tiger sighting. He is apparently walking without any pain. That's not going to be an issue. He's already said now that he's healthy or as healthy as he has been in the last few years, that he can actually commit to more than 5 or 6 events this season, which hopefully will be the Masters and the U.S. Open and the Open Championship and his tournament, Riviera. Hopefully, we have all these. I've already kind of put in my mind which ones Eldrick is going to show up to. The Hero World Challenge is like, hey, I'm back. Tiger Woods getting himself in here pretty far down the list here at 80-1 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's get to that a little bit later. The 2 favorites here, Viktor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler, plus 400 and plus 450 respectively. I'd rather take Scotty Scheffler in a vacuum than Viktor Hovland. Hovland is getting a little overinflated here because of his course history. Scotty Scheffler is still one of the best golfers I've ever seen play.
And I mean, he finished runner-up at this event the last 2 years too. So obviously he likes this golf course as well, you know.
Yeah. And for a guy who maybe didn't make as many putts as he wanted to last year, he still set all sorts of ball striking records that were thought to be untouchable from the early 2000 Tiger Woods era.
He didn't make anything and had a fantastic year, which is terrifying for the rest of the tour. Because if he can just
what do you think Scotty's been working on the last couple months?
Exactly.
I have a feeling Scotty could run away with this thing, and 4-1, 4.5-1, probably going to get shorter as we get closer to lock. I still like Scotty Scheffler here. I don't like Viktor Hovland because of what you said. The smaller greens means you're going to see more missed greens on approach, more chipping opportunities, even though he's not as bad as he used to be around the greens. He's still not Scotty Scheffler or Colin Morikawa or Max Homa. Definitely not Justin Thomas around the greens. All of these guys that are getting better odds are better at the thing that I'm worried about than Viktor Hovland.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I don't really like betting either one of them. We kind of have a rule on our show that you don't ever take anybody that's less than 7-1 because it's not really worth the return on investment. I mean, you have to bet so many units to really make out well that, I mean, crap, there's other ways to bet it. My buddy Alan, you know, that is my co-host on the show, always talks about, see if maybe they get off to a slow start. And then the guy you like, you can live bet on them, hopefully for better odds than what you're getting when the event starts.
And it will be.
Yeah. And so because of that, I like Morikawa at plus 750. He just fits the model of things that I'm looking for very well. Last time we saw him, he won by 6 shots at the Zozo. he's another guy, right? That really, it was shocking last year because we've had a rule for now going on about 4 years. If Morikawa is less than 30-1 in a major, he's an automatic pick. Automatic, because we've just seen over and over again in the best fields, this guy always shows up. He didn't even have to have his A game, which I don't feel like he had all of last year. But, I mean, he finished sixth this year at the Tour Championship, really kind of started playing a lot better at the end of the year. And then for the statistics that you want, he's sixth in strokes gained approach on the tour, seventh in green and regulation, seventh in par 5 scoring, 17th birdie or better, 28 total driving. And Morikawa is the kind of guy that I feel like that win at the Zozo could lead to a lot of wins this year. People forget that he was like on the cusp of being, I guess, like the next big thing. It's kind of hard to say anymore because it's so hard to win.
He's still there.
Right. But
because of his results last year, people forget that he's right up there with Scotty Scheffler from tee to green.
Absolutely. And actually better around the greens and on the greens than, Scotty's been for his career.
Yeah.
Scotty's an unbelievable chipper. But, I mean, Morikawa actually has stretches where he putts really well. Scheffler's always kind of been an average putter. It's just a superior ball striker. The only concern I have about Morikawa is, again, he's not great chipping. And his putting last year was awful. He had almost like a Spieth collapse where it was like, I don't know what happened. He made a lot of putts the first couple of years career. Now
he's just streaky. He's streaky, and last year was cold all the way through.
So I think it's plus 750. He's kind of right in that range where I don't mind making my normal wager. And I feel like you're getting some real value with him because I feel like he's, equal of a player, kind of to your point, to Scheffler and Hovland, who are considerably, lesser odds.
Yeah, and we kind of have a rule on this show that no matter what, Connor never bets on Tony Finau because every time he does, he gets burned. And I just tell him it's really simple. You just bet Tony Finau in Detroit when nobody else is playing well. And he never listens to me. I fade Tony Finau like he does. I play the game, the whole charade. Like, oh yeah, Tony Finau is terrible. But like this is another Detroit situation where you want a guy who bombs the ball, a guy who makes birdies in bunches on easier courses. That's Tony Finau. It's Tony Finau through and through. So thanks, Connor. If you watch this show, I am betting on Tony Finau, and he's not going to burn me like he always burns you. You know why? Because I know when to bet Tony Finau. He would probably tell me to pivot to Cam Young, and Cam Young can't putt to save his life. He's like Scotty Scheffler, who's never accomplished anything. And
this is a course, though, that he's played well the 2 times he's been here. And, I mean, this is the kind of course that he can ball strike it well enough. I'll go ahead and spoil it. He's going to be in a lot of DK lineups for me this week. Yeah, Cam Young will. But I would not probably bet him to win, but I don't mind looking at like his top 5 odds because he finished 4th last year.
I'm trying to think of what he has won before. No, nothing comes to mind. 16-1 for a guy who's never won anything ever. I think I'll fade that. DFS is a different story. That's actually going to be a nice leverage pick in the range that he's in for our next segment. But Finau for me at 22-1, and then going down to you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me, but I love the comeback story of Will Zalatoris this week. 35-1. This guy is absolutely insane as a ball striker, accuracy wise, and just like Collin Morikawa, a streaky putter. We've seen all the yips that he's been through. He's coming off a back surgery. He says that he feels better than he ever did before he got the surgery. I believe him. I think this guy is a world-class golfer. We saw it in spurts before he ultimately went down to the injury and got his stuff taken care of. Back surgery is for a golfer. It's more like this is a long time coming, and he finally just decided this is it. I'm either going to fade off and never be seen again, or I'm going to get the surgery and try to build the pieces back up in good health. I think that this could be a huge leg up for a guy as talented as Will Zalatoris, who's probably been grinding as hard as anybody since he got cleared to practice.
Yeah, and just for reference, I had neck surgery 3 years ago. They fused my C3, C4.
You got the Peyton Manning. You got the Peyton Manning deal.
Been a scratch golfer most of my adult life, and the first thing that you can do is work on your chipping and putting. And you can assure that I worked on it a lot before I was able to get the full go on swinging and taking full shots. So I guarantee you, with him being a professional golfer who practices way more than I do, he's been working on his short game a lot longer than he's been swinging a club since, post surgery. So I never doubt Willie Z. He's, again, one of our favorite guys in majors, top 5 props. I mean, to win, he's just a stud. And this is the exact kind of course that, with the smaller greens, he's going to hit it so close so often that whether he really has a great putting week or not, if he hits the ball the way he did before the injury, he will be in contention on Sunday. I have no doubt in that. I had one guy in kind of that 20 range, and that's Ricky Fowler, plus 2,200. He's won here before, won in 2017. That was really the last time he played in this event, when he was Ricky Fowler, like before the reemergence last year. This is a course that just sets up so well for him. I mean, 7th in strokes gained approach, 8th in par 3 scoring, 21st birdie or better, 23rd par 5 scoring, top 35 in total driving. Like, Fowler has got it all. And I could definitely
put all the pieces together last year, and that's what we love to see from a guy that everybody loves. Ricky Fowler. Haven't found a single golf fan out there in my entire life that does not root for Ricky Fowler. So when he was going through all of his bad swings and just the yips that every pro golfer goes through for a period of time, everybody's still rooting for him. He might not be relevant at a period of time. For him, it was a few years. But from what we saw last year, everybody's back on. They're like saying, hey, let's watch some Ricky greatness again. And I'm with you there. I don't know if I bet him to win, but he's going to be in my DFS pool for sure. This is a limited field event. It's very exclusive. And what I'm looking at now is that it's a non-cut event anyway. So nobody's going home early at the Bahamas.
Again, motivation is a big key this week, because a lot of these guys, I'm telling you, it's a trip to the Bahamas. Another guy in the 3,000 range is, we're talking about a course with small greens, a lot of par 5s. You need length, accuracy, an ability to scramble putt, a player that plays well in the wind. Sounds a lot like Jason Day to me. Sounds a lot like Jason Day to me. He is somebody who can get super hot. You talk about somebody who's great around the green. Jason Day is as good as anybody on the planet. Jason Day hits his driver as far and as straight as anybody on tour. And when Day gets his irons going, which that was kind of his one bugaboo for stretches last season, he was actually below his normal standards. And iron play, I love him. And you're telling me I'm getting 35-1 on Jason Day in a 16-player field on small greens in windy condition, where scrambling is going to be a big key, and so is par 5 scoring. I'll take that all day.
Yeah, what we haven't seen from J Day is consistency lately. That's what I'm afraid of. In a small field event, I get it. I really do. But you've awoken our fearless leader. Seth is a J Day supporter. Take that for what it's worth, though. He's also a big, you're not a Callum Tarrant fan. Yeah, it's disgusting. So he's always telling us to bet on Callum Tarrant. It's never worked. So the Jason Day thing, since you got him all hyped up, I'm going to fade Jason Day, because it's bad news all around when Seth gets involved.
Seth, we're going to break a trend this week. Don't worry, buddy.
Why do you think I host the show and not him? Because he'd be calling for Callum Tarrant and Jason Day every week.
Oh, could you imagine if he was in this field? If Colin Tarrant was just randomly one of the names, you'd be like, got some black belt and Tiger? What's going on here?
Tiger Woods is in the field, 80-1. Why is he getting disrespected at a tournament he's dominated pretty much every healthy year he's been here? We don't know what he looks like, but it's still Tiger freaking Woods here. And you and I and Connor are all massive Tiger Woods fans. We were golf fans through all the glory years. Those are still going on. If Tiger Woods is on the property, I'm betting on him to win.
I would never forgive myself ever.
Seems like Vegas. It seems like Vegas is telling Bo it's okay to bet on Tiger this week, because everybody is invited to bet on Tiger at 80-1. Vegas is saying, bring it all in. It's a sucker bet to get great odds on Tiger Woods. So here, bring us the money. And if Tiger wins somehow, then the Vegas is happy. And I'm still happy because I'd had the opportunity to continue to bet on Tiger Woods in my late 30s. I can't, my like teenage Bo is saying Tiger Woods for life, and it's still happening. So as long as I can bet on Tiger Woods, I'm happy. I'm going to bet on Tiger Woods.
I mean, 80-1. I was really shocked to see that, because do you know how many bets they're going to have on him? And that is just like, don't poke the bear, man, or the tiger in this situation.
Vegas is saying, "Oh, we're going to make Tiger
You're
the
done,
long
Tiger,
shot and rake it in, rake it in."
Again, to your point, he dominated this. He's won it 5 times. Now, granted, he has not won it since it's been in Albany, but I mean, just in the last 4 times he's played it. The last time he played it, he finished 4th in 2019 at this event. 2017, he finished 9th. He is, I mean, he's Tiger freaking Woods. Of course I'm going to bet on him if he's 80-1. Like, come on.
I don't think there's many places on the planet that make your joints and your old bones feel better than the Caribbean.
Yeah. We have a rule on our show that if you got to wear a sweater or a jacket, we're fading Tiger that week. But anytime he's in short sleeves and sweating, dude, he's okay. He can hold up. I am very interested to see how he walks, because so much has been made, not just by him, but people have played with him and, know him well, that he's moving so much better. I know he's caddied for like 54-hole events for his son. And even in his press conference today, it was really kind of surprising, because Tiger is so robotic that you hear his, press conference, you think they all sound the same, but they really don't. Like, he normally never gives away lofty aspirations. That's just not who he is. He's only going to say what he thinks he can obtain. And for him to say he's going to try to play an event once a month, like, that's significant. I mean,
that's music to our ears.
I mean, that would be huge. And for the game, especially. And the other thing I just want to say is, if he ends up, let's just say, and I know it's a long shot, that's why he's 80-1. But if he ends up in contention on Sunday, you think these little kids ain't going to be pissing their fucking pants, pardon my French, with Tiger Woods back in the hunt on Sunday in red?
Shaking. Like, even like Scotty Scheffler's close with Tiger Woods at this point, but he's going to be shook. Like, that's the world number 1. Going to be shook if Tiger Woods is sitting there in the final pairing with him. It's just the Tiger effect. It never goes away. Nobody's going to look next to Tiger Woods on a Sunday afternoon and be like, I got this. Yeah, no, it's like, oh, crap.
That's what Koepka said at the 18 Masters. How'd that work out for him?
Yeah, not well. But yeah, Toronto Dave, shout out to all of our Canadian fans. That's a big contingent of the 19th hole is up north in Looneyville. Toronto
I got
Dave
in Saskatchewan, Quebec.
Yeah, guess where Toronto Dave is hailing from? The province of Alberta, no less. Toronto Dave from Toronto. Money, dollar signs. Yeah, Canadian dollar signs, not as big of an emoji as from what I've heard. It's the exchange rate makes the emoji smaller. It's a little joke. A little jab I have to throw.
Did the wife like that one? I thought that was funny.
Yeah, she likes the exchange rate jokes. That's funny. All right, let's head over to the DraftKings.
Oh, can I give a few props real quick that I just wanted to highlight?
Perfect. Yeah.
Again, I love Day this week. So 4-1 to top 5. I'm only going to do top 5 bets, because that's the only ones you're getting return investment. But again, it's an 18-player field. So I actually like this better than betting on some of these guys to win in a lot of situations. Mm-hmm. Glover 6-1. You want to talk about disrespect? I mean, who is arguably the best player in the world? He got shafted out of the Ryder Cup, shafted, and we got beat. So what a shocker. And again, you're talking about a field where ball striking is key and par 5 scoring is key. Lucas Glover was out of this world last year, all summer in both of those categories. And then again, Tiger 9-1 to top 5. That's probably more realistic than the 80-1. So I'm going to be double dipping and betting on both. Because again, I couldn't forgive myself if I didn't. But those are just some prop bets that I'd just pay attention to this week.
For sure. And of course, Lucas Glover is the paradox. He's Lucas Glover, doesn't wear gloves. It's fitting. And I was just talking about Lucas Glover earlier today because I picked him to win the Wyndham Championship when he did. So I was happy to talk about to Lucas Glover earlier today. Toronto Dave, I think because it's 0.7 the size because it's colder up there. It's simple science.
You've seen Seinfeld. It's shrinking. Shrinkage.
I was at the pool. Yeah, we got the chat is blowing up here. Dee is interacting with Canada. Make sure you clear customs first before you talk to Toronto Dave. I don't know what that means.
I was about to ask. I don't either.
Yeah.
Saw ATL in the middle of it though.
The crowd the cold brings it down to 0.2. Yeah, it's a rough exchange rate. Plus tax, it's rough up there, but at least you have
they have beautiful summers though. I can say that from experience. Canada in summer is amazing.
Yeah, and
God bless you for dealing with the cold. This Southern boy couldn't do it. So
yeah, I don't know. I can't move any farther north than Northern California where it's extremely hot in the summer. I'd love a Canadian summer when we're at 120 degrees here. And then in the winter, we're actually pretty nice here. We're like, oh, it's a low of 32. I can deal with that because in the middle of the day here, it's like 65. We're like, oh, it's winter. Ooh, we got to wear a light jacket.
Georgia's the same way. You can wear shorts basically year round. I mean, we go through little cold stretches, but you guys have the weird swings though. It's just like I have family out in Arizona. It's the same deal where it can feel like a great day, and then the minute it gets dark, it's like, what in the world is going on? It gets kind of chilly out there, man.
Yeah. So he did explain he was just abbreviating cooking at the lake house. Way to go. And Dee would love to move to Canada. Yeah, me too. All right, let's go to DFS. This segment is affectionately known as no trunk slams because if you miss the cut or if you have a bad round, guess what you're doing? You're slamming your clubs in the trunk and you're dropping the hammer on the trunk, whether there's a club in the way or not. Usually it's my towel that got in the trunk.
The club as well. This would be a wrestling slam.
So no trunk slams is homage to all the times we've set a DFS lineup and two of our guys made the weekend. Yeah, it makes you feel bad.
Or even worse when they would draw at like 7 a.m. right before the start of the tournament and your lineup's locked.
After lock.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks for gutting it out overnight while we were sleeping and then saying, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go home.
Had a bad range session. It was just like, screw it. It's like, appreciate you.
Yeah, it's
talking to you, Paul Casey. He's done it to me at least twice.
Paul Casey, Tom Kim did it to me last year. It's all bad. Hideki Matsuyama is famous for it. Like he'll stick it out to like 5 minutes before his scheduled tee time and be like, yeah, I don't feel it. Jordan Spieth strained his arm reaching for his toaster this morning. So we didn't talk about him in betting. That's an easy fade, right?
Yeah, I mean, Spieth, I don't know, man. He's so tough to bet on these days for me because his odds still, to me, always seem to be, too yeah, like it's. I mean, what has he really done? Even with this kind of resurgence, I guess you call it, in the last year and a half, he's still not the Spieth. It's almost like we're still getting, paying the tax for the Spieth that won two majors, and what? Well, he won it back to back. He won the Masters US Open, then won the Open 2 years later. He's just not the same dude. He's such a head case. And I hate it because I like Jordan Spieth a lot. But you watch him play golf, and it's like, dude, you don't need a swing coach. You need a freaking psychiatrist is what you need, period.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I model my sand game after him because he's the best bunker play I've ever seen. And if you ever want to know how to shoot 72 despite not finding a fairway in 18 holes, just look at Jordan Spieth. He has no idea where the ball's going off the tee. He could be in the next county up in a tree somewhere, and that dude's making par.
He's the American Seve Ballesteros, like in so many ways.
He is. The short game's incredible. All right, so top of the board here, your usual suspects. Scotty Scheffler comes to mind. He's a pretty decent DFS play every single week. You know why? Because he makes a lot of birdies.
I've got in the 10K range, again, because of the field, and I've done this the last couple of years in this event, I'm going to end up taking 3 guys in the 6K range. So that way I can stack Scheffler and Hovland, which I'm taking them both. If you want to make it Scheffler and Morikawa or whoever, you can. But I like to go ahead and have those because, again, those guys finished 1-2 the last 2 years. They're arguably the best 2 golfers in the world right now. And actually, it's not even arguable. They are the best 2 golfers in the world in this field right now with recent play, accomplishments, whatever you want to say. And I think it also will get you a differentiating lineup because I'm going to end up having I think $700 left over in my official lineup. And I love doing that in these small events.
Okay. That's okay.
Yes. Because
you don't have to spend the whole salary cap. That's what the DFS algorithm wants you to do, is try to fit it in as close to the cap as possible. In reality, guess what happens? The person with the best lineup, regardless of how much money under the cap they are, they're the ones that win.
Golf is different than football because it's, football really does. Usually the more expensive guys always are better plays. But in golf, I mean, you're telling me Big Z, Jason Day, and Lucas Glover in the 6,000 range aren't, in my opinion, just as good of plays as some of these guys in the 7-8K range? I think they are.
They are. Especially over 4 rounds, no cut.
No
trunk. There's no trunk slams this week. We have everybody 6 for 6 this week. So you get to pick the 6 guys who you think are going to score the most points. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You got to avoid the chalk bombs. Everything's pretty evenly spaced in as far as ownership percentages that I've seen. So pick your best guys. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to score the most birdies and eagles, make the fewest mistakes, finish the highest standings? Those are the guys you're picking. I like Scotty more than Viktor here, but I'm going to drop down to Colin Morikawa. And just like you, I see Tony Finau 7,600 here, and I'm smashing that because this guy scores a ton of fantasy points. Even when he's struggling, this guy makes birdies on birdies on birdies. And when he doesn't compete, it's because he made a double here and there that knocked him out of contention. That doesn't hurt us in DFS this week because he's not going to miss the weekend. Tony Finau at 7,600 seems like the outright smash, with a close second being Ricky Fowler at 8 flat.
Yeah, those are literally the 2 names in that 9 to kind of 7K range. The other one again is Cam Young for the same reason.
Yes.
You're saying Finau, that I don't have to worry about if he gets off to a slow start or really if where he finishes, because the bottom line is Cam Young is going to make a bunch of birdies. He destroys par 5s. And he's, when he gets hot, one of the best iron players in the world, which is always good for par 3s. That correlates. Finau is literally, though, the only guy in the 7K range. I was close to going with Wyndham Clark, but, again, I know we joke that no course is really that long anymore, but it does scare me that Wyndham's got to play against these guys on par 5s, that there's 5 of them and 3 of them are 590 or more, because he's got okay length, but nothing like a lot of these guys in the field. And I think he's going to lose some strokes to them in that area. But other than that, again, I love the 6K range. You talked about Big Z, 6,600. Again, a guy makes a ton of birdies. I know he hasn't played in forever, but this is a good event for that. Same thing for Tiger, who, a reminder, in 2016, the last time he came back and had been away for forever, he'd been fighting the chipping yips. I mean, it was really bad last time when he came back. Yeah, he finished 17th out of 18 players. You know what he also did? He made the most birdies in the field. So that's good for DraftKings. So if he ends up doing that again this week at that price, that's going to be great. And then, I talked about the other 2 guys I really like is Day, 6,500. And I can't believe you can get Lucas Glover for 6,000 because I know Lucas is going to go out there and try to win. He's talked about it. He's spending every chance he's got these next few years while he's still got this prime in his golf career to make as much money as possible. He's just flat out stated that. So I know he'll try to win as much money as he can from this prize purse. And with an 18-player pool, he's got a great chance to, get paid.
Oh, yeah. Lucas Glover loves 2 things. He likes sitting in the sun, getting a nice tan, and making money. And this guy, we always made fun of him in the Discord chats. Like when I was writing for Team Rise or Fall, we're doing DFS. It's like, Lucas Glover his new wife loves money, and so he's got to keep her happy. So when Lucas Glover was flailing and missing cuts, like we are like, oh, Lucas Glover, man, his wife is ticked off. Lucas Glover's wife is very happy right now. She is living large. They're in the Bahamas this week. He's going to be in contention. I think he's a top 5 player this week. And in DFS, he's got to be in your pool.
He's
like
the cheapest guy in the field, which to me is just baffling.
Yeah, if I'm gonna make a pool of 8 or 9 guys that I'm gonna play and just rotate through all my lineups, he's definitely got to be in it.
Plays well in wind, we know that. And I am somebody that I know the people from Lab Golf. Like I've had a Lab Golf putter for 5 years. I never found one that fitted me, but over and over again, we've seen these save guys' career. And when you're somebody like Lucas Glover, imagine how frustrating the game is to know you're one of the best 5'10" ball strikers in the world, and you literally can't know if you're going to make a 4 to 5 foot putt. And that was Lucas Glover's career the last 7-8 years. And
That's
now
right.
He's confident and rolling it well. And I said it when he won it the first time this season that I knew he was going to win again before the year was over. He's too good of a ball striker that if he putts the way he did the entire second half of the season, he's going to be in contention over and over and over again until he again kind of forgets how to putt.
Yeah, until then, we're going to keep playing him.
For sure.
All right, so let's finish up. We usually do a couple little props here before we wrap it up. The one that I want to talk to you about is first round leader. Who's your first round leader, Keith?
Man, I think I'd have to go with either somebody like Cameron Young or Tony Finau, somebody that we know is going to make a bunch of birdies and just hope that maybe that's the day that they have their clean scorecard. Because the other thing is the Bahamas, the wind and the weather is going to change quickly. I shouldn't say the weather, but the wind will. I mean, I know that it'll say 7-8 miles an hour in those kind of places like I've been in Hawaii. It can say 7-8, and then 2 hours later, it's 15 to 20. You just don't ever really know. It's just constant wind. So it could be a big deal, even with just 9 tee times, depending if you get to go off early and it's less wind or later. But if I was going to pick somebody, it would be those two. And then for a long shot, Big Z. Maybe he comes out of the gate just storming. He would probably be the other one I consider.
All right. And what's your winning score?
I think it's going to be right in that 18-20 under range is what I would have to guess. And it's tough to, again, bet against Scheffler and Hovland, but I'm going to do it with Morikawa just because I don't like the odds. Now, that doesn't mean if one of them gets off to a bad start and I see them creep up to 6-7 to 1 live betting, you better bet I will smash that if it's during the first or in the second round.
Yep, I can see that. All right. I think that it's going to be 24 under par. And I think it will be Colin Morikawa. I like the same guy. Colin Morikawa is one of my favorite golfers ever. He's won me a lot of money over the years. it's something about him that I just get this feeling when he's going to win. Like at the Zozo, we're all on him at the Zozo. Like Connor and I were like, we don't even worry about betting other people. Colin Morikawa will win this tournament, and he ran away with it. It's just that same feeling. This guy is riding super high confidence. He makes a ton of birdies, and he doesn't make mistakes. And what we've seen from him in his recent form is that he's on a hot streak with the putter. He's in the right mindset. He's in the freaking Bahamas. There is nobody that's going to stop Colin Morikawa from winning this thing if he gets off to a good start. I say Colin wins at 24 under par.
I hope so, because again, 7 to 1's I think very decent odds for a player of his caliber in an 18-man field. Because again, there's 2 players you could argue maybe are better than him right now in the world, but that are in this event. But I don't think either one of them are much better, even on their best day.
Exactly. All right. Well, Keith, thank you so much for stepping in for Connor. He is a very important man. He has lots of big deadlines to meet. He's a busy, busy person. I'm going to give him all the hell.
Well, I'm not. So anytime you need me, you just let me know and I'll be available.
He's just rolling in. And like Keith is like, can you send me the link next week too? Like, there's not even a tournament next week, Keith.
That's all right. I'll talk golf anytime.
But yeah, again, nice to find another person to host the show with me that's more handsome than Connor Coughlin. I appreciate you, Keith. We will get you back on the show here during the main regular season. If anything, for comedic relief, because I mean you're a funny guy. We love to hear from you.
Well, I appreciate that, and would love for you to come on our show this year on
I-
Fantasy Six Pack. Man, we do one every week, and basically it's mostly gambling. We do talk a little DFS, but me and Alan are just straight golf degenerates from January to
Excellent.
August. So I think we could have a
Excellent.
lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the show. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Dee, Toronto, Dave, Seth. I guess you have to be here. You're the guy running the show. So thanks to everyone. We will see you for the return. Tiger, bring him back. I noticed that backswing, the frame and the backswing. I knew what shirt it was because that's Tiger Woods right there.
I ordered this man the second he was coming back in 2016. So
excellent.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, so we will see you guys for the Century Tournament of Champions in January. That's
you're not gonna talk the father son. Come on, that's only a month away. Tiger and Charlie Woods, no.
I don't know. Maybe Seth will throw it on there, but we're definitely going to see you for the Century Tournament of Champions at Kapalua.
Great venue.
But until then, appreciate you stopping by.